All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Developing Skies podcast. I have special guest Kevin here from Arkansas. He is 19 years old and an aspiring meteorologist. How you doing tonight, Kevin?
I'm doing good. How about you, Thomas?
Doing pretty good. I noticed that last week they had a bust up there in the Northeast. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, as a lot of media and a lot of people know that are watching the weather, watching any television, watching the National Weather Service offices, looking at their forecasts, they were calling for significant snow of 24 to 30 inches from New York City, but they got 8 inches. The Bureau had a foot of snow or more, in excess of a foot to 2 feet. Even the areas outside of that had a 6 to 12 inches and got a dusting. Let me talk about that. The models are wrong on the track. The system phased, which means it come together offshore instead of further west. And it was a developing situation and no one called it. That's why there was a forecast bust. Now for Boston, they got accumulating snow to 2 feet. That was correct. That explains the bust. The storm system developed and phased later and offshore, which means they come together 2 hours slower than anticipated, which makes a huge difference in the weather field. That is the bust of 2015 on the Northeast.
Do you feel that they should have done the travel ban in New York City?
Well, me as a forecaster, I thought it would have been a significant snow. I thought a foot at least would have fell. We got 8 inches. Um, I didn't catch it either. Yeah, a travel ban was necessary. 8 inches of snow is a lot of snow. A travel ban was necessary for the impacts. Prepare for the worst and hope for the best. That saying comes to mind. Uh, there were precautions made. Maybe it didn't occur exactly, but God had the ultimate hand in that.
For those that don't know, Kevin is going to college right now, and yeah, I think you said you're going to go to college in Louisiana, where you're a meteorologist.
Yes, that's
Um,
right. I'm currently in college at my community college and get my basics out of the way. Taking a biology course, which is a science elective. Well, it's not really elective, it's mandatory because I need a science course to get on to physics, chemistry, physics, and go on to atmospheric science. So I got a little bit to go. Um, History, which is just one of those things I've got to take, which is Western Civ. Uh, English. Yeah, English is important, and
and
which is
also,
I'm taking composition too, which just covers a lot of writing, and I'm taking college algebra, which is very, very important in my field. And I'm going to atmospheric science. Going to get an atmospheric science degree at Monroe, Louisiana. Taking about 3 or 4 years.
and also,
Also, other than that,
also, people don't forget that you have to have your calculus also.
oh yeah, I've got to go from college algebra up to calculus, differential equations, all this fun math to get to where I gotta get. I'm I'm going to be really busy over the next 5 years.
For somebody that may be watching, explain to them the difference between El Nino and La Nina.
El Nino, the pattern we're in right now is a strong El Nino. El Nino patterns are similar to La Nina patterns as they do give some of the same weather. El Nino and La Nina are opposite phases. That's El Nino is actually a Spanish name. La Nina is a Spanish name too, but it's also a weather name. It's been warming and sea surface temperatures across the central and eastern Pacific. They're likely to develop during the winter season. They include warmer than average temperatures over western and central Canada and over the western and northern United States. Why did I say western? Wetter than average conditions across portions of the U.S. Gulf, the southeast, with drier than average conditions for much of the Ohio Valley in the Pacific Northwest. La Nina is the exact opposite. This is typical episodes. There's always anomalies. But a La Nina episode is below average sea surface temperatures, so it's just either above is El Nino and La Nina is below. So what's more neutral? That would be average temperatures. So that's how it works.
And here's a quick question. If somebody was going to find a book in the library about severe weather, what would be a good book for them?
Severe weather. That's if I personally got a lot of my information on the internet, but there are good ways.
One of my favorites was Storm Chaser by Warren Fadley.
Good.
Sorry about the technical difficulty there, ladies and gentlemen. His connection dropped out.
We're sorry about that. As I was talking about the severe weather book.
Yeah, and I had mentioned Storm Chaser by Warren Fatally as a good book.
Where can you find that one? Is it in the bookstore or is it on the internet or Amazon?
You can order it. It was a National Geographic type book. I think you can find it in the library, and they may even have videos on that talk about severe weather in the library. And I guess the next thing would be what type of equipment would a storm chaser need in their vehicle? And since I'm more into that, I could answer that side.
Go ahead. Do you want me to answer it or you?
I'll go ahead and answer it. Basically, what you want in your vehicle is you want to have a good anemometer on top of the car.
Always important.
And you want to have first aid kits in case you come across a scenario where you may be needing to bandage somebody up. And some items that storm chasers have on their vehicle that are not necessarily needed are magnets on the side of their car. And definitely you want to have a safety vest that is reflective to where if you're out on the side of the road, other motorists will be able to see you. And the most essential item would be a camcorder. And you definitely want to have radar in the car. You don't want to chase blind. That is something I learned my first year of chasing. Was I had a single cab pickup truck, and me and my chase partner drove into a hailstorm without radar, and it got so bad that we couldn't even see the road in front of us. So you definitely want to have radar equipment and an internet source, and make sure you have good windshield wipers. And also, before you go on a chase, put some Rain-X on your windshield. That way, when the rain comes down, it will beat off the windshield, and it won't be so hard to see. Those are my tips.
You covered it pretty well. A lot of the stuff on radar, camcorder,
and also you want to be aware of your NWS contact numbers. Because if you don't know the number to the National Weather Service, you can't relay that report. Ladies and gentlemen, we have lost Kevin again. Has bad internet signal, I'm thinking. I'm gonna try to get him back on.
We're having serious difficulties tonight. I was off everything.
I'm wondering if you need to close those programs out again.
I've got them all closed.
Basically, if this happens again, we're gonna cut the video off. Because it looks kind of weird when it goes blank and there's nobody talking.
We can always edit that.
But anyways, what is your thoughts about the upcoming hurricane season?
I'm just gonna be honest on that. I haven't looked into it, and I looked in the spring. I looked in the severe weather season, but I didn't look in the hurricane season. To be honest.
Could you tell our audience what the difference is between a hurricane and a nor'easter?
A hurricane is a warm body, low pressure organization. What it is a low pressure system develops over the Atlantic or the Pacific or the Gulf of Mexico, and it's usually in a 75 to 90 degree water temperatures. A hurricane is a tight surface low. It's not enough for low low. It's a surface low that develops, and it creates its own energy. It creates it essentially is a mid-latitude storm system. It's an intense low pressure. Winds, heavy rainfall, tornadoes can occur with hurricanes, but landfall due to the amount of wind shear that the hurricane produces. Wind shear tears apart storms. They can't organize too much of it. You want calm wind shear, warm water, and a lot of moisture, and a low pressure system can thrive off that, and it can spin up some good storms. Also, high pressure is good on controlling and developing if it's in the right location. A nor'easter is a storm system that rides up the coast. It has northeast winds. It always has a northeast wind component that fuels the storm. They can have rain, they can have snow, depending on the temperature profiles.
Can they also have
thunder?
Can they also have thunder and lightning?
Yes. Depending due to the dynamics of a nor'easter, lightning is very possible, if not likely, depending on the amount of instability ahead of near a nor'easter. But typically, it is usually it's a cold rain due to a northeast wind component, which is cool and moist air, or snow due to the temperature profiles crashing in the system as it pulls in cold air.
There's a myth that right now that's going on that saying, is there or is there not hail inside a hurricane? Because I've seen landfalling hurricanes and the radar will be showing hail markers associated with the feeder bands. I believe that's what they're called.
They hurricanes have thunderstorms in them. Yes, the they're less frequent. It happens, but hurricanes typically don't have hail in them. It's usually a warm core system. Therefore, you don't get hail very often. Tornadoes occur because there's a lot of low-level wind in the atmosphere. Therefore, tornadoes occur with theater bands. But hail, as far as hail, that is not that. It's not that likely.
Now,
that's what I've seen.
Let's say that one asks a question like, is it possible to see a shelf cloud during a tropical system?
Yes, especially on the leading edge. In the leading edge of a hurricane or a tropical system or tropical storm or depression, but mainly storms or hurricanes. There's pictures, and they're not photoshopped of clouds before a tropical storm or after it leaves.
Do you believe that? Here's an interesting question. What can people do to learn more about how to identify clouds?
There are plenty of government weather sites that discuss cloud types by studying them, by books, internet, asking questions, asking meteorologists. That's the best way to know cloud type. Different clouds by studying. Internet sources are very good, and I would recommend NOAA weather site.
Here's an interesting question. Do you believe that chaser convergence is getting more what's the word, popular?
Worse.
Worse.
Populated.
Do you think it's getting worse, or do you think it's actually about the same?
It seems like that there are so many thrill seekers, and they really don't know what they're doing.
And again, this is not to bash anybody. We're just doing this for educational purposes.
Yeah, it can be very dangerous. If you know what you're doing, it's one thing, but there are people, and I'm not trying to bash anyone. That's why I do 3 people with a storm chase, because my experience is not